Let's go to the game that you are going to be at, Miami SMU, because I am very fascinated by this. And I'll ask you this question first and let you kind of get first crack at it. It kind of feels like Miami has lost some swagger since the loss to Louisville. Does it not feel like that? I feel like I still am very confident in them. I think you are too. I think we both love them and have them. But I talked to a lot of people and they're like, oh, Miami's not even our top 10 anymore. Like, Miami's not a top 10 team. I'm like, you lost one game by what, a field goal. And like, we're just going to say poo poo to everything else and just like, oh, they're a bad team all of a sudden.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I feel like the nation is now completely given up on Miami after the one loss. And, like they're irrelevant now.
Yeah. Well, I do think that's what people love to do. They love to love Miami and they love to hate Miami. There's no in between. So as soon as you give them a chance, they're like, yeah, get these boys out of here. And I don't know if I feel that. We run in different circles that sometimes intermingle. I don't know if I've necessarily felt that with these guys. And I get it. What was interesting, I was in Louisville last week. That stadium, more in particular than anyone I've ever been in, had the worst service imaginable. I could not even open Twitter. Like nothing would open on my phone. So I had no clue what was happening in this game. I finally find myself, near a TV and it's 7-7 at halftime. I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And so maybe, people stopped watching then. But they went on to beat that ass and score 35 unanswered points, ran the ball at will. I mean, I was really impressed. Now I wanted to see it earlier, obviously. But Mark Fletcher is just a monster in that backfield. Lyman did a great job all game climbing, to the second level and getting to that next level. So if the game stopped at halftime, yeah, I'm with you. But because they literally won by 35 points, I'm good. I think these guys are fantastic. They were a little hungover maybe from the Louisville loss, but then they figured it out. The interesting thing about this game before we dive in, Aaron, is this is the first time they've left the state of Florida
That's
this
wild.
year. That's incredible.
Wild.
Does that matter? I don't know, but it's a talking point. It's something interesting to look at.
I'll say this. So you go back to that loss versus Louisville and what happened? Obviously, Carson threw a bunch of interceptions. And I thought Carson overall, I know people still like go crazy when I say this, played a really good game, but obviously had 4 interceptions. So you can't really say that and say but everything else was freaking phenomenal. I mean, he's 25 of 35. Like it was an efficient football game. And just, 2 of the interceptions were just 50-50 balls that you'd like to see be incompletion, or their guys maybe giving up an opportunity, some amazing interceptions too by Louisville. So I don't want to turn this into, Aaron's defending Carson once again. But you look at that game and why was he put in that situation? Well, he was put in that situation because Miami couldn't run the football. 63 yards rushing, 2.6 yards per carry.
Yes.
What does SMU do well? They are a really good rush defense. They're only giving up 76 yards per game on the ground in conference play. So this is kind of Carson's redemption. If I'm SMU, I'm saying the same thing to what Louisville did 2 weeks ago. We're going to make you throw the football to beat us. We're not going to let Mark Fletcher and this dominant offensive line just run right through us. We're going to put 7 guys in the box. We're going to put 8 guys in the box. And yes, we're going to be exposed to Malachi Toney in the back end and CJ Daniels of one-on-ones, but we're going to bank on maybe Carson's going to throw some up and throw a couple of interceptions.
Yeah.
And I think right now defensively, based on the film, you have to do that.
Yes.
Make Carson Beck beat you with his arm. This is a redemption game for Carson after what happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think that, for him, as the competitor that I think he is and that I know he is, I hope he's licking his chops at that opportunity. I mean, this is the worst pass defense in America. They stink. They're giving up 300 plus yards a game. But the asterisk in that, they also will get that football. They will take it away. They are the number 1 team in the ACC in interceptions and fumbles created. They are going to get the ball. So can you minimize those mistakes? Can you say my guys are better than yours? Push the ball downfield, high and outside, not high and inside, outside, to where my guy can make the play. Don't be on different pages with your tight ends, things of that nature. And can you capitalize is what I want to see. And really for him to have a 300 plus yard game where I'm like, dang, that dude is balling. Like he's throwing these passes. It's not just check downs. It's not just quick screens. It's not just quick outs. He's pushing the ball downfield, making some big time reads like I've seen him do for a majority of this season. The other interesting piece is protecting them. You know, they are the leading sack master in the ACC as well. So can you keep the guys off of them? Can Carson make quick decisions? And then how do you want to run the ball? You know, Miami fans this week in particular, I don't know what you've seen on Twitter or what, but you know, they were kind of coming at coach. It felt like all week that we only run inside, we run halfback dive, and that's it. They want some outside, they want some stretch, they want some counter. Things that you can get out there. And I think this weekend particularly, that will be helpful. You do not want to run into the teeth of these defensive linemen. 4 and 6, two fat boys with single-digit numbers. You don't want to run into those guys. So how can we get outside? How can we get some stretch zone involved here? Which naturally, as you and I know, will create cutbacks and create really big-time plays. So that's kind of offensively, you know, what I want to see from the Hurricanes this weekend.
All right, let's get to SMU a little bit, and obviously we talk about what they need to do defensively. It's put the ball, do what they've done all year, stop the run, put the ball in Carson's hands, make him win that way. And obviously, you got to win some one-on-one battles on the outside. Offensively, struggling to run the football a little bit this year at times. Only 75 yards last week, 2.7 yards per carry. Kevin Jennings has been good, really good throwing the football. Is this a game of which quarterback is most efficient, which quarterback essentially protects the football more? Like, is that what this is going to come down to in your mind?
Probably, you know, just because, and it's been shocking. You talk about the run game. They had Brashard Smith last year, very good and killing it in the NFL for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes cannot speak more highly of him, but it was one guy, and everybody knew he was getting the ball, and he still made it happen. He still made things happen. They've got 3 or 4 guys this year, Aaron, that I was like, okay, surely these guys together can equate to that. Well, it hasn't, and it does not work, you know, the same way. And I've been baffled by that. And I think a little bit what has hindered them as well is Kevin Jennings is hurt. Like, he's got a bum ankle. He keeps re-rolling, it seems like, you know, every other game. And we know, and you know, from the quarterback position, that if you're not mobile and you can't push off of that thing, it gets a little hairy. And I think that's been a little bit
against Bain in that defense. That's not where you want to be.
Have fun. Protect them, please. Chip, 4 hands on Bain at all times. But can you replicate what Louisville did? Can you get the ball out quick? Can you run away from 4? You see Bain over there, run the other way. And ultimately, you know, crossing routes, quick hitters, don't let them even be able to tee off screens, keep them balanced, you know, things of that nature. I'm fascinated to see that chess match between Rhett Lashley, who I think is one of the best in the world at what he does offensively, you know, versus Coach Heatherman, that for a majority of this season has been elite at the defensive coordinator position, you know, for Miami there. So it's going to be interesting.
You've seen the recipe a little bit too. I mean, go back to that Louisville game, and I think that's one game everyone's watching, because obviously Louisville found a way to have success on both sides of the football. But it was quick hitters. Like Miller Moss got the ball out of his hands, only 6.5 yards per completion or attempt. Like, it was like dink, dunk, balls out. Like, we all know, like,
and yards after, guys took off as soon as they caught it.
Yeah. So like, I think that's the recipe. Like, you have to neutralize that defense line. Like, I think Miami's good at all 3 levels, but they're really good up front.
Yes.
And your run game may have to be the quick pass game. Your pass game is going to have to be the quick pass game, because you can't let a quarterback that is a little bit banged up sit back there, can't be as creative because because of the ankle, and expect him to push the ball down the field. It's got to be win on 1st and 2nd down with 4 or 5 yard passes that maybe turn into 15, 20 yard gains.
Yeah, totally agree. And will be interesting if they can do that. Again, I mentioned it sold out earlier. Excited to see that environment. We'll be there. It's going to be loud. It's going to be lit. And just how can the Hurricanes do away from the state of Florida? We'll see if that matters at all. It's a 12.5-point spread in favor of the Hurricanes here. I think they get it done. I mean, I think, again, Miami showed in that second half to me that they refocused, relocked in. And I just think there's too much talent there right now. But there's something about the Rhett Lashley, and they've got a lot of Hurricane players and the former Miami connection. Well, it could get weird, but I'm taking the Hurricanes.
I'll take the Hurricanes too.